Thermal imaging is where we're going to start, so you guys can see me in that picture.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So this is a real thermal imaging camera. It's not an app, and it's not the cheap one that you'll find on some of the tours in other major cities like Savannah. There's a tour down there that tries to do what I do, but not as cool. But anyway, so this is the real deal. Firemen and mechanics use this thing as a tool. So you guys can see me in that picture, right? I'm orange, red, and yellow, my skin tone. So that means I'm the hottest thing in the picture, and I don't say that to flirt with anybody. I'm a happily married man. So scientifically, I'm the hottest guy here.
Right.
Just by numbers. So with that said, everything around me should be somewhat blue or black.
Yes.
Am I right? Okay, so those things are obviously colder than me. So blue and black are our cold spots. We are looking for things that are going to be blue and black to move on their own intelligently. So when you take me out of the picture, that orange, red, and yellow is going to fluctuate to go somewhere else. So as we're moving along, we kind of want to try to keep a person in view most of the time. It's not try to keep it in somebody's face, but just try to keep somebody in view even from a distance. And I'll show you guys more evidence about this as we move along. Who's most excited about this guy?
Me.
Okay. So
For it.
I'll do it.
now, that is just a normal cell phone. It has a construction style casing around it. Your fingers on your left hand are over the camera right now, just so you know. So there are buttons along the top and the bottom.
Really
Do you see the red square on there?
Yes.
Okay, that means that it's recording. It does record audio and video. You get the whole video back tomorrow morning.
Okay.
If that square turns to a circle, tap it again, let me know. That means I have to splice some video together for you guys, so that way you guys have one video to watch instead of 2 to 6. Hopefully it's not more than 2.
Okay.
Takes time to do that.
All right.
So you're a camera person all night?
I'll be the camera person.
Here's what I'll also tell you.
Okay.
I'm going to keep saying her name until I get it right.
Yes, Jen.
So people get a little weird about their cars being filmed. Certain places we're going to will have parked cars. At that point, somebody's walking to their car, you're casually holding a cell phone. That's it. You're not going to be, oh my god, check out this.
Oh, okay. So I should just...
Yeah, you're just going to be...
Can I, like, hold it like this, then?
Well, try to keep it horizontal.
Oh, okay.
Just remember not to be like touristy.
Okay.
Just like
you got it.
All right,
Not
I got
touristy.
it.
I like it.
Natural.
Good job.
I got it.
right.
Being natural.
in other words, not how you're standing right now.
Yeah, you can just kind of
Why?
You look like weird.
Oh, my Lord.
That's even worse.
Oh, I'm holding my hand over the thing again. Okay.
All right, so you
I'm
either
being
figure that out,
casual.
or we're gonna get an entire video of your fingers.
I'm being
Did I get this thing
casual.
to the wrong person?
Perhaps. No, I'm just kidding.
Spirit boxes. We're gonna
Ooh,
be
me,
using-
me.
Hang on.
Oh, me.
Oh.
Wow, that was quick.
Do you have more than one?
I do. But I have multiple styles.
Okay.
So the two that we're going to be using tonight. Now, let me first explain what spirit boxes are. Okay? Thank you. So spirit boxes, FM radio stations, sweeps through very fast. You guys seem like you're very hip to all of this, so I'm going to be brief. This one's slowed down.
Okay.
It's not just white noise. I want the radio chatter to come through.
Okay.
I want the song lyrics, the DJs, the song lyrics, all that stuff. So if you hear any of those things, that's what we're listening for. Can we get disembodied voices? Of course we can. Do I get them often? Not really. Maybe once a quarter, I'll get a specific disembodied voice. We're really looking for those radio chatter. If you hear something, it's a 50-50 shot. I can match it to the location of where we are, the person I'm talking about, or something going on with one of us. So that's just kind of how this thing works. The cool thing about this particular unit is that it records the entire session for us. No background noise, so it's not going to know what we're saying. Even when it's on mute. So even when I say, go ahead and turn this thing down, I haven't decided if I'm giving it to you, so I keep looking between the two of you. So even when I say, go ahead and turn this thing down, it's still recording at a nice even level. You get the recording back tomorrow morning with anywhere between 5 to 20 audio markers that I'll find either relevant or irrelevant. If it's relevant, I tell you why it's relevant and then give you the backlink as to why. Does that make sense to everybody?
Yeah.
You guys are really SpongeBobs and great listeners, but I love the chattiness too.
Yeah.
So,
I'm just excited that we get it back the next day.
Right. Yeah.
That's
and a lot of
super
people
cool
don't
to me.
realize that when they get here. So, and that's really odd because that's really what I push on when I'm trying to sell more tickets.
That's the reason why I like this was
She
to
did,
get
like,
it back.
specifically, she said, I like this one because it has a bunch of equipment and you get the results back.
So
Because
even-
it was between this and, like, some pub crawl thing, and we were like, not the pub crawl.
Even like last night where it was kind of light, you know, in real time, I still found things this morning going through it. I didn't find a lot, but I found a few extra things that I didn't notice that were going on when we were in real time. So that's kind of like why we do all of this. You know, I want you guys to have a good time, first off. The second, I never want you to forget what you did here.
Right.
And you're never going to forget it because I'm going to be the orange, red, and yellow guy on the screen most of the night, it looks like. So,
You're doing such a good job, Jen.
Thanks. I'm like watching for all
you seem
this
a little bit more
movement.
chatty.
Is that bad?
That's a good thing for this one.
Okay, thanks.
So, sorry.
I beat
got
That's
it.
okay. That's we're all getting the same stuff back. So,
Yeah,
and
so
I
I'm a
believe
writer,
so.
so I have to characterize all of you. So that's
okay.
So
Are you
that's
gonna
kinda
write a
my-
story about it?
Have you already characterized this?
Yes.
Really?
I can't.
That's
wait
crazy.
to hear
Wait,
that.
Did I
can we
not
have-
just call
can we
you the
get to
chatty
know?
one?
Yeah.
Okay.
Wait, what does everybody
Oh,
have?
that's true. Yeah.
He hasn't marked it yet. Y'all just like take your fucking boxes and let's go.
You have one button.
She's the anger problem. No, I'm just kidding.
It's a wheel at the top. You're
Okay.
going to control the volume.
Okay. So
It's literally just a wheel. If you hit the button by accident, let me know. I have to reset it up to record. So just worry about the wheel. Obviously, when I'm talking and telling stories, we want to keep it down. It's recording for us anyway. So what do we care, right? Yeah, you want to hear shit in real time, but again, we're going to get it all back tomorrow morning. Okay. Let's continue with Spirit Box.
this is so cool. Okay, I'm gonna like snag this.
Your
on my
Spirit
wrist.
Box works a lot differently. You're not as chatty as This one's going to give us a word from time to time in the center of the screen.
Look where-
Yes, it's a phone app.
Missing it.
Okay. It saves all of those words to a list. Last
Hold
night's team, they had 76 terms.
Wow.
Okay, so I get an average of 55 to 60
Something
per
over
90
here.
minutes or so.
So is that what the terms that come across from the spirits, or what they
believe you.
capture?
I'm getting to that.
Okay.
So I'm going to clear them out and start your list off
It
fresh.
was.
So that
Maybe
way
it
starts
scared
getting
you.
us words right away. Now,
Maybe
this
so.
game is meant to be a game and a hoax. 80% of what comes out of this thing is absolute bullshit. It doesn't mean a damn thing. The game we're playing is it from the app or is it from the spirits?
Okay.
It's the 5 to 20% that I'll find either in real time and sometimes it's the next morning because I didn't look at your full list, you know, as we were moving along, where I missed something. I'm like, oh my god, how did I miss the word knee? This guy was shot in the kneecap. You know what I mean? Like, how did I miss that?
Right.
So again, small relative terms, sometimes it'll be a full phrase. We never know what's going to come out of this thing. You have 2 buttons to worry about. The little calendar to the right will bring you to the list. Obviously it's empty, and then you just want to circle back. Calendar, circle back. That's it.
Calendar circle back.
got it.
I can do that.
Oh,
So,
what is that?
because
Yeah.
you seem a little bit more, I guess, I don't want to say meek and quiet, but you're much quieter than the rest of the group.
We talked about this on the way here.
Y'all, I think I'm seeing stuff over here. Not you,
You're gonna
Monica.
get a ton of different things because you're looking at cars, metal, wood, foliage,
Yeah,
all
maybe
kinds of
it's
things.
Oh.
maybe it's a reflection.
Well, the metal sign is getting a reflection from every car that's passing by.
Oh,
This is why we need.
okay.
You're
More
kind of my
experience.
coverall for everything.
Oh god.
You have a
okay.
multi, like,
In the junk drawer.
no.
No, that's literally what her profession.
No, I'm a school counselor, so I am like the junk drawer of the school. So I can be the
The
junk
junk
drawer
drawer?
of the group,
So,
but in a good way.
yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
It's a
this
positive
tool
thing.
actually does 3 different things. I've only had it for about 2 months, so we're still learning more and more about it. First thing it's going to do is it's going to measure ambient temperature. So in the event Jen finds something on her camera,
I don't
we're going to
know.
be able to find exactly where that cold spot is coming from. That's your bottom number, the small one. I may even turn it off as we kind of get into the tour, so that way the battery juice goes straight to the EMF. Now the little EMF that she had at her other tour in
Totally
Williamsburg,
different, yeah.
yes, this is way more accurate.
It just had like lights.
And I have one of those too. So again, I may even put it out and put it on my bag just so that way we have a comparison. I get excited about anything over 2.5. So I don't want rhythms. I don't like 2.5. Zero,
Would Michael do
2.5,
something like this
zero.
with you?
That usually means it's
Brandon
coming from
wouldn't.
something
I don't know.
man-made.
I mean, he would,
So
but
you
he
kind
wouldn't
of
have
have
as
to
much
watch it
fun
for
with
5
it
to
as
8
No, Michael
seconds
would
or
love
so,
it.
just to see if there's
Really?
a pattern. If
Brandon's
it's just
like
starts
really scared
skyrocketing,
about
like
this.
over 100, that
Really?
little
He
meter
doesn't
that
like
she had
scary
only goes
movies.
to 25.
He doesn't.
This
Last
thing I've
night
seen
we
cap out
watched
at
Child's
116.
Play, the newest
Yeah, so
Child's
it
Play.
can go
I hate
pretty
scary
nuts.
movies.
So there's 2 things that it'll do. The third thing it's going to do, yes, there's an antenna. It's on the back. Hopefully it works over here in this corner. I didn't do it yesterday. Perfect. Oh, gotta go noise. There we go. Alright, so it's going to detect motion. So
Oh wow.
as something gets close to this and breaks the EMF field that's around the antenna, it's going to get,
Cool.
it's going to make a noise, obviously. You've seen I didn't touch it. The EMF field is around the antenna. Once something breaks it, it will actually go into a higher, I'm pointing it down so it's not flashing anybody. So you can see how it goes all the way up when something is actually that close. Now the range on this thing is set pretty short. I did that on purpose because we're going to be moving around. It's not in a room where I can set it up and widen it up and watch to see what it does and not touch it. You're going to be holding this thing all night long. Is it annoying on the audio? Yes. And we'll say at times, and I'll show you more how to use it on a personal patient. But for now, you're our EMF person.
Okay.
Notice I left the flap open in the back. You're going to need that flap open to contact the REM pod. That's the motion detector. So, everybody's got a tool, everybody's got a device. Recap on what you're going to get back. You're going to get the audio, video, spirit box recording, list of words. Yours doesn't record, you're an in-the-moment person. Okay? So that's kind of where everybody's role sits at. Did I match up personalities properly?
Yep,
Yeah.
we're good.
I'm impressed
I'm pretty good with
so
it.
far.
So far.
It actually really is, because Corey, you're really good about just sitting back and observing.
Yeah.
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 Let's do this.
And that's
I'll tell
totally a
you
good thing.
why we start here.
Yes, please do.
I know, pretty weird place,
It's
right?
the orthopedic surgeon. Is orthopedic? Yeah, no, it's just I don't know if they're surgeons. I guess they're just like physical therapists.
What are you blabbing about?
I'm trying to figure out if the orthopedic place is haunted.
No.
Or if we just started here
Nick
because it
said
was
no.
convenient.
Nick said no.
Okay. Ooh, somebody's car alarms. Something's setting off.
That's the alarm for the bike place. That's the bike taxi place.
Oh.
So we start here, and I gave you the address of the actual place that's haunted, 251.
It looks haunted.
Oh.
So right now it's
So-
being renovated. It was a bar. It was recently called Cane Rum Bar. Before that, it was called Big John's Tavern. Big John was named after a football player. He played for the 1947 New York Giants. A football guy. I had to memorize his crap so you guys had a story. So he used to sit in the back of the bar and tell the bartender if the cadets that came over from the Citadel, if they were old enough to drink or not. So one night, two guys come in. They're obviously not old enough to drink. Big John tells the bartender, get them the hell out of here. So they leave, pretty pissed off. So they come back the next night and they try to sit cash register in the front of the bar. Obviously, John sees what's going on. Little bar brawl breaks out. A couple of shots go off. John gets hit in the neck with a bullet, and the bullet ricochets and goes into the wall. John gets up and he goes back to the bar and he says, "Get me another beer and go get them guys an ambulance." Now, John's the one that got shot, and nobody died in that story. What's haunting the place? Guesses? Anything? Bueller. Okay. Bullet hole.
I was
Oh.
about to say the bullet. Dang it.
The bullet hole is allegedly still here. I say allegedly, obviously renovating. I have to double check. The only time I've ever gotten EMF from a meter like yours is in the front of that bar where the bullet hole is where it's at. Now, people that sit in the front of the bar tend to get a little dizzy, headaches, nauseous. That's paranormal activity. That's how that affects people. I bring this story up on purpose. That's why we started. I don't know how this tour is going to affect you. If you guys are feeling any of those symptoms, I need to know immediately. It's a very big deal. I won't say that I haven't had people pass out from this tour. So, I don't want you to be scared that this is oh my god, I'm going to get sick, but
Right, just in case.
just in case. So, let's get our minds off our own health. Corey's like, oh my god, what the hell did I sign up for?
This is like
It's intense.
legit. I am.
So, well, we're across the street. I usually have you guys lined up against the building over there, but those are apartments above, and some of the neighbors are getting mad because my groups of 10, which I've had most of the week, we've been crowding the corners and stuff like that.
So there is up there apartment?
Yep, people live up there. And I probably don't even know it's haunted down there.
I was trying to say above the haunted bar.
Apparently. But I know I haven't been to the upstairs.
Have you seen the
Because the
bullet?
alleged bullet is
I saw a
Okay, you just can't confirm.
I can't confirm. And it was very close to where I was getting the EMF readings. So, take that for what it is. So, we had a big earthquake here in 1886. If you didn't take any other kind of Charleston tour, you probably didn't know that, okay? But it's a big deal for us because we don't have earthquakes. This is the East Coast. You guys are from North Carolina, right?
Yep.
Yes.
I looked up the area code because you didn't answer the question.
Gosh,
I
Monica,
failed.
you want to be the
Straight
team
down
leader.
I'm not a psychic. I didn't pick up your vibes.
okay.
So, anyway, a piece of the mantling that you guys see in the center of the building also goes in the middle of the building on the front. Apparently, from the earthquake, a piece of that broke off, struck somebody in the head, and killed them. Apparently, you can see his ghost on East Bay Street and Witching Hour, which would be like between 2 to 4 o'clock. I say allegedly on that because I don't have any proof. It's just a great segue story, so you're not thinking about getting sick on my tour. So, and I hate even calling this a tour. It's more of an escape room. So, again, I know. It's more
we
interactive.
debated on doing escape room.
We actually have a couple of them down here, I think. I've done one. That was a couple years ago. I don't know if it's still open now. I think it was Out in 60 Seconds or Escape in 60 Seconds or something. It was a lot of fun. Took my daughter. She had a blast. All right. Are you guys ready to go something?
Yes.
Listen,
Yes.
You're getting terms. Can you tell me what words you have?
Yes. Origin, daily, shy, permanent, and internal.
And number. Okay. For the 80% BS. All right. Let's roll on this way.
Okay, I think in our 13 years at least, plus a friendship, this might be the coolest thing we've ever done.
Yes, I agree.
I would say in my 30 years, this is probably the coolest thing I've ever done.
So, this actually just started off as kind of a hobby. I was working up in Myrtle Beach and just doing investigations. And there again, where you found all the stories, both started to get to a halt. We need to put this into a blog and a podcast. And then I left my 6-figure job so I could do this with you guys.
Wow.
What did you do before doing this?
I was in retail management for 21 years.
Wow.
Managing literally hundreds of people.
Oh.
So,
This sounds much better.
yeah, so I went to school for writing. I wrap up my master's degree in July, and all of my degrees are in writing of some sort. So I was writing books, about the paranormal and the afterlife. Basically, was the theme of my work. So this is not a pitch for my books. It's just kind of telling you, like, my heart and soul is in this every single day. During the day, I'm either working on homework on my new book, and at night, so I can eat, I have to take you guys ghost hunting. And I get to meet cool people and have fun. My wife, every night, when I tell her I made it downtown, she always says, "Have fun, love you, see you in 2 hours." That's her text. Have fun. Like, remember why you're doing this. So, because it's not work. All right. So, where are we? Again, a parking lot. Told you, we're going to see some parking lots tonight. So, this is going to be level 1 for you guys. Can we go ahead and turn that down for just a second? So, I want you to think of your entire time with me as kind of lessons. Okay. This is lesson 1, level 1. We're going to start off with something very easy, just so you guys get used to your devices. This is also a great place because the history here is very short. It's like a one-liner. So this way I get to bounce around with all of you and show you more tactics about your device. And Corey's like, yes, please. So that way you guys can all get a gist of what we're actually doing for the rest of the night. I will tell you as we move through each level. So we're going to end on a level 3 because there is a legends and lore portion kind of in between. Those are just kind of some of the fun stories that we have around Charleston. If we get something from it, awesome. If we don't, I don't expect it anyway, because again, most of it's legend. Do I have evidence from it? I do. But at the same time, we never know what we're going to get when I'm telling those stories. So, this is where we keep the horses for your carriage rides. They are inside that barn, okay? There's obviously way more cars in here than I normally have, so I don't know where all these cars are coming from. I don't know if it's Memorial Day and people are just parking wherever the hell they want to. Which, by the way, where did you guys park?
We took an Uber.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah.
So, where are you staying? Are you guys staying downtown?
Off Hanover Street.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what are you doing after this? I just need to know where I'm getting you back to, because this does not end in the same
We
place.
I think we want to go back to
Henry's.
Back
Okay,
to
I'm not gonna
Henry's.
lie, we all took a shot before this.
So,
We're trying to go back to Henry's.
Henry's is going to be up this way then.
Yeah,
Right.
that makes sense.
Okay. So
I
I can
think
get.
it was over there.
Yeah, it was over that way.
So it's still going to be relatively close to where we end. We're going to
Okay.
end. Literally, we're only going to be going 0.6 miles.
Oh,
Okay.
Because we stop at places and spend 10, 15 minutes. And that way, it's because there's so many stories from where we're going to be walking. But again, we don't walk far. It seems like it because we might be together for 2 hours. But at the same time, it's kind of like, we didn't go that far. I can get you back pretty quickly. All right, so there's no windows in those. There's no glass in those windows.
I was
Right.
looking at those, and it seems like
They need to have air, and they need to air out the barn, otherwise it would be really nasty.
Yeah.
You guys can probably smell the horses now. I can't. I'm immune to it. So we don't want to get your spirit box too loud here. You will spook those horses if you wanted a jump scare. They do kick that metal wall, just so you know, and they can probably hear us right now. So we're gonna be kind of just with whoever's listening with you, kind of audio. But this is the history of the building. The only thing I could find on it is this is where we kept horses that used to deliver milk and eggs to the residents of Charleston. So we're talking 1860s to 1920s, not that long ago. So 100 to 150 years ago. So, okay. I'm always going to say key words to you whenever we're talking about stories. 1947, New York Giants, Big John, right?
Right.
Here it's delivery, eggs, milk. Charleston's relevant because you're going to be listening to the radio. It's going to say Charleston 1,000 times, so I don't take that for granted. So let's talk about the 2 spirit boxes that we have out, and because it's going to be very relevant to the way you guys look at your evidence as a whole. This is not a TV show, okay? This is not, is somebody here?
Right.
Because if somebody answers no, that means somebody's here. Just
Right.
putting that out there.
Right.
So again, we're going to stay away from yes and no questions all night long. The 2 of you both have spirit boxes. You can work in tandem. I don't care. You both don't have noisemakers. What do you have now?
Clutter. Clutter, nominee, dread, clue, intellectual.
Okay. nothing of relevance yet. So you're going to stick with something simple that you already know the answers to. What color is the barn? If somebody's here with me, tell me what color the barn is. Hopefully you hear the color red. But in the event you don't, I want you, did you guys all see the movie Transformers?
Yes, a long time ago.
Perfect. So you remember Bumblebee?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay? He talks through the radio because he doesn't have a voice box. It's the same thing. He's going to try to find a word, or she, whoever's trying to come through, that's going to match the answer to the question you asked. So what color is the barn? Blood, heart, fire truck, fire.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Things that are specifically red. So when I said all of those terms to you, you guys all thought of something red specifically. So it's not going to be my shirt or something along those lines, because your shirt might be red, but your shirt's not always red. Does that make sense? Yeah. So in the event you don't get an answer, what do you have?
Blood. Oh boy.
I can't make this shit up. I swear.
Cool.
Holy crap.
Oh my god.
Okay.
My thing keeps like flashing red too. What's
That's
that mean?
because I'm moving.
Oh, okay. Like over here, it's like flashing
Yeah, 'cause
red.
sometimes I might jump out of the picture for a second and come back, so it's going to flash. It's going to try to find that baseline.
Okay.
We're going to get to your stuff in a minute.
'Kay.
In the event we have an answer. So now we can move on to the next question. What's inside the barn? Now you just opened up a whole big can of worms. Animals, horses. They're draft horses. That's their breed.
Yes.
They
I got a
delivered.
yes.
That doesn't mean shit.
You're just like, yeah, no. That
Yeah,
doesn't-
No.
They delivered milk and eggs. What are milk and eggs? Protein and calcium.
Dairy.
Or dairy.
Eggs
Makes
aren't
sense
dairy.
too.
We've had this discussion.
It just says
Milk
session.
is dairy.
1860s, they would have been considered
It says
dairy.
session.
Too vague.
Yeah.
So I want specific details when we're going through this kind of stuff.
Okay.
Same thing with your camera. If you just said, hey, this is kind of fluctuating a little bit, I'm already debunking it in my head because I know I'm kind of going back and forth.
Yeah.
I haven't seen anything come up on your EMF yet. Yes, I've been eyeballing your numbers as you laid it down. So Spirit Box, folks, by all means, feel free to start wandering around. Try to stay on, just because I won't be able to see you, stay on this side of the big limo van, whatever the hell we want to call that thing, just so we can kind of get a gist of it. Yeah, party bus. There you go. I like that. So, and by the way, you guys telling me that you guys had a shot. A, I already knew that. And two, too drunk where I said, no, we're not doing this, because I've done that before.
Yeah.
So I've literally walked away from tours and said, you know what, you guys are just too trashed, and I just walked away.
Yeah.
And I don't refund, because it says right in your cancellation policy, will not put up with intoxication or illegal use of substances. So,
Definitely not us.
so people come up with booze pops. Do you guys know what those are?
Yeah.
We saw somebody.
So those are legal in Charleston because you're eating alcohol.
Oh.
The law states you cannot drink alcohol in public.
That's cool
Like
to
on the
know.
street.
Where do we
I
get
feel like
those
where do we
from?
get 'em?
Spirits, you need to have that clear, like.
I agree. And that's
so
exactly.
That,
and you
that
guys see
tends
how.
to be my personal choice. When,
But you guys also see, A, we're having fun because we're all
Right.
chatting, right? Second, you guys all see how serious I am. Like,
Yes.
I'm not going to walk around with a bunch of drunks who are turning up the radio near the ponies to try to piss
Right.
them off. Like, no, that's not what we're doing. Because who gets the ticket at the end of the day? I do. Right? I get the noise ordinance ticket, not you guys. So, all right, you two go wander off. I'm going to work with these two for a second because I want to get yours. All right, so on the back flap, you see that there's two white buttons.
Okay.
So you're looking at the button closest to the edge, which will be on your right, because it's going to control the right device. You have two up here. This one is measuring your ambient temperature. You always want to pull your antenna up first. I'll pull that up for you. And then click in that white button all the way. Don't just tap it. There you go. Now flip it around. You should have a green light. There you go. So when you jostle it like that, it's going to go a little bit wonky and nuts until it tries to balance itself. After a few seconds, if it doesn't, you have 4 buttons right where your thumb is at. All the way at the bottom is the one that will balance out that EMF field. So if you just click it or hold it in, it should balance itself back out again. It's kind of a reset. But you have something obviously a little nutty going on because you're not really moving it and jostling it around a whole lot. And you're going to see as you walk, and if you have heavy steps, it will jostle with every step you have. Just giving you that kind of mentality. But there's obviously something going on. What's the EMF reading at that point? The big numbers?
0.2.
Okay, so that's not
8.
really. So something's moving. Something moving around. Again, 2.5 is where I get a little excited. We're kind of close to a building. It shouldn't be picking up any EMF and any electrical lines from in here, but at the same time, you just never know. Something that low, it's a possibility. 2.5 is where I start to see, okay, this is crazy. What's nuts is sometimes your REM pod, your motion detector, is kind of going nuts, and there's no EMF reading. That kind of shows you that the EMF that is coming off of this is not being read through the red numbers. Does that make sense? So that was probably me, because I got too close to it. Go ahead and hang out with them for a minute. I want to show her a little bit more about how that thing is going to work. So that way they know where to stop and actually ask questions. Alright, so go ahead and point your camera straight at this wall for me and
Okay.
watch it bleed out. See how it kind of like turned all red and orange?
Mm-hmm.
Let's put my hand in view. See how the wall turned blue?
Yes.
That's why we want to keep somebody in view. I know I did the
Okay.
quick demo back there, but I know it's a little bit more extreme on this end.
Yeah.
So that's why I like to do that. The next stop that we have, I'll actually show you a piece of evidence where I actually have two black blobs moving that are definitely heads when there's somebody in view. So that way you could see like the head should have been orange like the other person that was closer.
Right.
It doesn't matter the distance. It's about
Okay.
like literally the color. This thing doesn't see in 3D. The
Right.
technology is just not there. That's why there's white like outline things on there. Do you see all of it? Like when you were like if my hand was up there, you should have like a white outline.
Yep.
So it does that to try to help you see the three-dimensional things that it can't see. So all it's doing is separating the temperature with a very thin white line. Because
Okay.
it knows my hand is going to be way warmer than the wall in a distance. But it's just all it sees is the temperature. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep.
Perfect. All right. So we all have the gist of what our devices do.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, let's go learn some real history. You ready?
Yes.
All right. Go ahead and turn
Ready.
your motion meter off.
This is making my internet history major really happy.
Come on, Corey.
Just trying to figure out how to turn that thing off. Yeah, go ahead and turn the motion meter off. That's the little white button in the back. Oh, that sucks.
Yep.
Not mine. I didn't put it in.
Wait, I didn't.
I don't know why that light is up. That's a private personal light. And then I tried to put there before I had a parking garage down here. I had somebody coming out screaming at me. Alright, that's close to the hole. There we go. I know. So, by the way, any smokers, I don't care. Do whatever you
No,
want. It's your
we're
call.
good.
Okay. Didn't bring that up. I am a smoker, so this is a place where we will actually separate a little bit inside of here, and I'll be checking you guys in after I tell you what's going on here first. You may see some smoke on your camera. That's me, just so you know. Some people are like, oh my god, I just saw mist. I'm like, no, that was me vaping. So, all right, so where the hell are we now? The parking lot. Well, I'm not going to it. You get the point. This is actually a pretty big piece of history for Charleston, but nobody ever comes here to talk about it because there's nothing to see. This is where the Eliza and Charles Pinkney mansion site were. So their mansion sat in the front of this lot. This is literally the plat of land. I think it extended a little bit further back, but essentially we're standing the way that it was bricked in back then. So the mansion sat in front. Eliza Pinkney, her garden started at that left tree and came all the way across, and we are literally standing where the servant and slave quarters would have been for the house. So very interesting things come up back here. However, with the servants and slaves, just so you know, I can't prove any of it. So this is going to be considered your level 2. You did very simple things over there. We got blood. I'm very excited about that. I know it's not showing in my monotone voice, but you're not going to have questions like what color was George Washington's white horse here. Okay, this is not going to be stuff you know. This is going to be stuff you're going to need to find out. So Eliza and Charles had a son named Charles. They had a nephew named Charles. So there's 3 Charleses in case you miscounted. So the son and the nephew, they were signers of our Constitution for South Carolina. Pretty big deal for us. Obviously, I hate politics. I'm a book guy, but I don't like politics. And I know you guys are on vacation and don't want to talk about politics either. So we're going to talk about Eliza. She's way cooler. March was Women's History Month. I was trying to pitch this was my greatest story during that month. But nobody talks about Eliza on any of the tours, which is interesting because this is my grand finale if I were to have one. Eliza, let me take a drink. You guys are really being SpongeBob's. Just letting you all know.
Oh, wait, hold on. Wait a minute. Did you tell you if it turns square?
No, it turns circle.
Oh, okay. We're good.
So I had a customer, and pardon my French on this, I usually say if it turns to a circle, you're the jerk. Because that takes me longer to get all the data back to everybody.
My bad.
And that the way he remembered that was, he's like, okay, it'll be a circle jerk. So, again, no, it kind of, so that'll be the way
I don't want to
remember
be
it.
a circle jerk.
Don't be
Okay.
a circle jerk. So, Eliza married Charles at a young age. I'm not going to tell you what that number was. I will tell you Charles was over double her age.
Wow.
So there was a big age gap, obviously.
Was that typical back then?
No. And Eliza would have been considered an old maid at that time as well.
So she was desperate to find married.
Not necessarily. She's from England. They have the same hierarchies that we had here in the States. This is the mid-1740s. So during that time, her father thought he was dying over in England, and he wanted all of his kids home to see him one last time. Well, she didn't believe he was dying. So
He says worry.
she didn't worry. She got married instead, and it didn't give her citizenship because there's no such thing. It just said, hey, Dad, I'm going to stay put. I'm going to get married to Charles, and we're going to be happily ever after. She was right. Dad didn't die just yet. He started sending gifts over like he normally did after he got better. One of those gifts happened to be the plant indigo. You guys have been here for at least a day. You've probably seen the word indigo and didn't even realize it. So indigo is a plant that makes blue dye that makes our blue jeans
I
blue.
like to die.
Yes.
Mhm.
So it's all about the dye. This was perfect timing because our rice plantations were going downhill. We needed another cash crop. Eliza loved to play with plants. She was a botanist. So last night the word science came up for us. Now we got a little excited about that. So the experiment started here. That's why I point out where the garden was. The interesting thing about this indigo plant is it's not always warm here. You guys live in North Carolina, you know shit gets cold.
Right.
Especially
Yeah.
in January, February. Like, I'm out here with gloves on, hot hands in my gloves. So with that said, she had to learn from her slaves and servants how to keep this plant cultivated in our cold temperatures. So she had to, because they came from the Gullah.
1.4.
Right.
Okay, that's awesome.
What's it supposed to be up to?
1.4.
She had it up to 3.4. So here, we will probably spike out at 20 to 30. Like, this is a hot spot for me. Like, this is a big one. So,
So was the indigo plant native to where the slaves she had were?
came from.
Okay.
So they were originally from the Gullah
Right.
culture, which is basically came straight from Africa. So she learned from them, and it was already here. It wasn't that, she discovered this. It was already here because of the Gullah,
Right.
slaves. But she's the one who capitalized on it. So she learned from them, experimented with it, moved it over to Sneed Farm in Mount Pleasant, calls her dad, and says, hey, I need some contacts to sell this overseas. I know this is doing really well in Europe. So all of a sudden, she's one of the first businesswomen in the middle of the colonial times, before we were actually even a country. It's pretty huge.
Yeah, Eliza.
Right, exactly. So I'm just touching the very skim, so we have stuff to play with on our devices.
Do you know
Well-
what happened to the mansion?
You're gonna find out.
Oh,
So that's one question you can ask. Where the hell is the mansion now?
No,
What
I'm
happened to it? And when did that happen?
Mm-hmm.
So here's the thing. I'm gonna give you some odd questions
Okay.
that you're not gonna know the answers to. I will give you the answers if you don't get them before we leave the lot. I'm not gonna leave you hanging.
3.3.
Okay?
0.1.
So it's fluctuating. There's a lot of weird things about Eliza that I ask every single night, or you guys ask every single night. She was the second wife named Eliza from Charles, back to back. So they both go by their maiden name. You guys all seem pretty intelligent. I don't have to explain what a maiden name is.
Yeah.
Do you really have to explain that? to
We
people?
all have
A lot.
them.
Really? Wow. That's kind of sad. Oh, okay.
But true.
Okay.
So, maiden name, they both start with the letter L.
Oh, wow.
Interesting enough.
Wow.
Ask you anything you want to about Eliza's death. How old she was, where did she die, what did she die from, what U.S. president was a pallbearer at her funeral.
Oh, wow.
That's a big one. That's usually the one people go after first. You're going to ask about the kids, but tread lightly. Maybe stick to how many kids, how many boys, how many girls, maybe get some names, leave it alone. There's a tragedy in there. You start poking the bear, all activity stops. It's almost a guarantee. Her EMF that she's getting, dead zero for the rest of the night.
Oh,
She
wow.
kind of dictates, remember, we're only going half a mile.
Right.
So
So
she's
she
gonna spread the word that Nick's team sucks tonight. Don't say a damn thing.
So be respectful about the
Right.
kids.
Always. Kids' names are always good. How many boys, how many girls, total number. Ask about the mansion, what happened to it. If Charles wants to come through, and you're not getting answers from Eliza, you can ask about Charles's birthday. Ironically enough, 2 days ago, May 26th, was the anniversary of Eliza's death. So that was also the same night that I had all of that crazy activity. So that was a pretty big deal. It was the same night as the full moon, so whatever night that was. But you can ask them when Eliza's birthday is. Sometimes she'll give you that number. Remember, numbers don't lie. Again, you guys all seem like you're pretty intelligent and kind of get that back. But yeah, we're going to explore this lot for like a good 10-15 minutes. This is where I'm going to, check you guys in, have a quick smoke. I will give another heated warning. We have been getting some homeless up there by the gate sleeping, so just be mindful.
Okay.
You will be the first person to see them because you have the camera.
Okay.
So when I walk down, my garage is by our ending, so I pass it and I always kind of look around the corner and see if dude's sleeping. He does not like noise. So if you get close to that area, you want to be respectful and just turn it down or just move away from the area. Don't go in between cars. People get weird, and we already talked about people walking through.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's have some fun with this. Definitely get that motion detector thing going, and ask lots of questions. Work together as a team. Separate. I don't care how you guys do it. Just at least stay in pairs. Okay. That's kind of just for safety's sake.
Is like the building and all of that red because people are moving, or?
So here's what I'm going to tell you. What you see is the orange. You guys can turn your stuff up. The orange stuff that you see in the back right here, and then you have like some blue. That's a car. That blue. So that car's been sitting here a while. It's cooled down.
Cool. Okay.
So anything that is cement, asphalt, is going to hold the heat from the day. It got up to about 94, 95 degrees today. So it's going to hang on to that heat for a few hours and probably won't cool off until about 2 to 4 a.m.
Okay.
The yellow...
So we need blue moving.
Blue moving. You want to see some proof? She's like, oh yeah, let me see some proof.
Yeah, sure. Oh yeah.
Let's see. So it took place here, and it's going to be up in that corner, and you'll recognize it as soon as I find it. Come on, stupid Facebook. Thank you. So when I have a full team of 10, there's a digital photo. Somebody's taking pictures through a laser grid to try to capture something in the grid, so everybody gets their own folder. So that way this is the only thing I outsource. Everything else goes to my website, because pictures take up a lot of space on the website.
Yeah.
There we go, evidence. So if something really cool comes up, I always put it in the evidence folder. So this is the best evidence that I have. So obviously that orange is the wall, just like kind of like what you're seeing. You see those two living people that just walked by? I can rewind it again so you can see them for sure. Two heads, they're going to be the same color. You see they're orange?
Yep.
So we're going to find the dead people. They're going to be two black heads that go the opposite way.
Oh wow.
Oh, I saw it.
So I've had that analyzed by a couple of firemen. Like, we got on a Zoom call, frame by framed it. He's like, it's not a car. It would be too far away. They were on my tour, so I showed them, and we tested it. We did a comparison of the video we took with cars going by. There's no way. He's like, you can actually see when it's frame by frame, two heads, like one in front of the other, and they're moving in unison. They just go past the little post that's in the center. It's really cool stuff. And there was always a guy on the right in view. You want his skin temp there. So that way there's a nice good baseline. They should have been the same color. At least orange to yellow.
Yeah.
Not yellow to black.
Right.
So
right.
obviously the black, there's a variance in temperature with each different variation of the color. So white and yellow are going to be your warmest things. And if there's white and yellow in there, it's probably 15 to 20 degrees cold or warmer than your darker blue stuff.
Okay.
So then it turns to black. Then you're looking at a 25 degree difference. It's like a 5 degree variance with each shade of color. So that's why I want to try to get as many array of colors as I can on that camera. Because when I review it, I only hotspotted it. You know, I look at this location specifically, I kind of zoom real through it, and I kind of do it 2 times to see if anything moved at a weird place, so that way I can give you the marker. But again, this isn't always I'm going to catch something every night. It's a matter of, did you catch something in real time? And if you think you did, that's the first place I go to. I checked out that area first in the time frame that I was there. That's what happened with that video. But do I watch the whole thing? Absolutely not. You guys are going to be recording like 5 to 7 hours worth of data. I don't have that kind of time. I got homework to do.
Right.
You know, I'm trying to write a new book here. So that's kind of the thing. I go through it for like 2 hours, and then the rest of it's up to you guys.
Yeah.
So again, your stuff is in the moment. You know, that's a newer device, and I'm still learning more and more about it, on how it's going to be, you know, productive. So when I see somebody, like, you guys actually all could have interchanged devices. I was actually, you know, I think I matched it pretty good, but I think the devices were matched properly, but you still could have all interchanged and understood what you guys were all doing.
Yeah.
So again, I have different devices for the toddlers, you know, the little tykes that like to come on. I also have stuff for grandma. So it just depends on what we're doing.
Yeah.
You know, grandma doesn't always want to see things. She just wants to hang out with her grandkids or whatever.
Right.
So she gets the digital camera. So that way the grandkids walking around with the lasers, you know what I mean, trying to thing. So But yeah, I'd say
So
explore
would she want to keep me in the camera so she has
Anybody.
that point?
Yeah.
anybody, even if
You
it's
or
somebody off
somebody.
in the distance.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna check you guys in, explore the lot. I'll catch up with you guys in just a minute once I get this finished.
Okay.
You want to start asking? Should we ask questions?
Oh, do we do that?
I guess we can.
Okay. What do you want to ask?
What happened to the mansion that was here? Curious how it changed. I'd like to know what happened to the beautiful house that was here.
I would like to know how many kids Eliza had.
And their names. What were her children's names?
Are getting anything?
They're joking anything?
No, not really. Well, I mean, we don't know if they're significant or not. We did get the word bomb. What?
You got your spirit box up?
Me?
Yeah.
Oh, is it supposed to be up? Like up?
No, like volume.
Oh, like full volume?
Turn up a little bit.
Oh, I thought it had to be quiet.
No,
Wait,
over
what
there.
is that?
It like scans.
That was my phone.
Oh.
So I'm a big Princess Bride fan.
Oh,
So whenever my wife texts me, it says, "I'm not a witch, I'm your wife." Do you remember that line? Anybody?
Love that.
And she thinks
That's
it's hysterical,
funny.
so.
Let's hit a Wednesday.
okay, so they got the word bomb.
It wasn't a bomb.
Oh, I thought
Okay.
maybe like Civil War, like maybe
Yeah.
something happened.
Civil War would have been canon.
Well, I thought maybe. Well, you said they used the radio, so I thought maybe that was like the only word she could come to
I like
equate.
your way of thinking, but it's
See,
wrong.
Yeah, I know. Well,
But it's wrong.
I argue wrong arguments every day in my job, so
We asked her, what did we ask her about the U.S. president?
she said forget after we asked her what U.S.
Oh,
president.
shit, forget. Love to brag about it.
She hasn't answered that.
And then I asked her what she grew in her garden, but she didn't respond.
Okay.
And what else did we ask her?
And remember that some of those answers, like the answers can go anywhere. We literally have 4 devices that she can communicate with verbally.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
So if you ask
She may
the
not
question,
answer us
and-
specifically, but
right, the answer can go anywhere. So a lot of times if I walk away and I'm using one of the spirit boxes because I only have a group of 2, I'll ask, for example, like, hey, Eliza, how many people did I bring with me? And I'll turn around, I'm like, it just said the number 2. Like, the number 2 is a very specific number. There's not 3 of us total. I asked how many did I bring with me. So
Right.
that's the number I'm looking for. So again, I do that stuff all the time to prove the point.
Right.
But we also have audio and audio. That's why there's 4 devices where the answers come from.
Okay.
So with that, by the way, this is the only entrance and exit, so people do zoom in and out of here, just so you guys know. I heard numbers. None of it
7.
matters. Yeah. It's not relevant. But and those questions might not come out directly either. They need time to come up with the answers. So if you ask what happened to the house, and then you moved on to how old were you when you got married, and you, for example, heard bomb,
Yeah.
I would say because I know it's wrong.
Right.
You heard bomb 10 minutes later, it's still relevant. It's still
Right.
answering one of the questions you asked. Sometimes it'll come up when we're over at another location. That's how this works. At least when I'm doing multiple locations like this that are very close to each other, it can come up anytime. As long as it's relevant, we're within 2 to 3 blocks of that location. Shit from Big John can come up here. If you get a double number, we're only 1 block away.
Right.
So if a double number comes up, for example, that could be a Jersey number. I won't get excited about it until I get the name to go along with it.
Okay.
And with your spirit box being slowed down, for example, what color is the barn? Rudolph the red-nosed reindeer. All I need is red. All those other words, they're relevant. I don't care. It's slow. Right. It's not fast like on TV. I do that on purpose because you guys aren't used to listening to this thing every day. And I'll stop talking to you. You can hear it.
I did just hear Sir Mix a lot, so I really don't think Eliza's using that to communicate with us, but you never know. children did you have? I just heard 2.
Very simple. Just have one click button. So you can see how this one right now is probably already sitting at about 15. This first green dot, 0. The next one, 5. So I'm going to take this one out. I can just leave it in my bag. Right out of the pocket. I don't care. Things in my bag. I'm going to go through like my wife tried to help me out. And they won't be able to like
Get excited when they get driven back down to the small almost like it went up and then it dropped down.
Eliza, what happened to your house? I guess we should switch gears and try to talk to Charles. Charles, how old were you? I don't know, I just want to know how old he was. When you died. Wait, what is your son like? Have you seen anything yet?
No.
Charles, how many children did you have with the one?
Alright, what do we get? Let me see your word list. Let's take this from you for a second. Tell me the last 3 minutes. Other than blood, that was good. Are you hearing anything on yours?
I keep hearing Sir Mix-a-Lot. But that's not a ghost, I don't think.
Probably.
That's just bad 90s rap. We never know. Maybe when we play it back later, we'll be like, that wasn't Sir Mix-a-Lot. That was Eliza.
Anything weird on your end?
No.
Again, you're catching it because we never know what's going to happen. So you're kind of with Corey. I'm like, this is an in the moment thing.
Yeah.
They're trying, they're provoking,
Right.
trying to get something to happen. So I want to see if I can get something out of this.
Okay.
Eliza, I want you to tell me how old Charles was when you married him. How old was Charles when you got married? Spice things up.
Is that relevant?
No.
No. I was like,
Talking about colonial times. There was nothing spicy going
well,
on.
I thought maybe you should herbs in her garden. I don't know.
She stuck to cash crops. I mean, she had plants, but out of it was an actual botanical whatever.
Right.
Come on, Eliza, or Charles, if you're here, tell us how old you were when you got married. Total annihilation.
Is that significant?
Just interesting. I wouldn't say it's relevant. What the hell hell is going on over there?
That's what I'm wondering. I think it's a wedding.
Mm-hmm.
Eliza, how many children did you have?
Good question. You know what's funny? You know what the name of that alley is?
What?
It sounds bad, but it's called Rafer's Alley. And I always mistake it for Raper's Alley. It's not somewhere where I would want to have my wedding.
Yeah, not in Raper's Alley.
Yeah,
Nope.
it's called Rafer with an F. and it just, I guess with my northern accent, it sometimes sounds like I said Raper. That's why we don't go there.
Eliza, what happened to your house?
Anything out of you? Science again. Nice. No. I don't know that. Good question.
What was your
They were
question?
both named Eliza.
First wife.
It's the first wife blonde. Interesting. I don't know.
So did Eliza die here?
No.
Okay, so she just came back to wherever she was familiar.
Right.
Okay.
So that kind of answers the question of why I don't take you to cemeteries.
Because
You're
it
not gonna
has
hang
no
out.
significance.
Right. Are cemeteries creepy? Yes, there's dead bodies.
I don't think I would hang out
What?
after life in this.
I do get some activity. Just depends on the location. Like Magnolia Cemetery that we have, it's the largest cemetery we have in South Carolina. Completely haunted. But some things have been moved there. So like the crew of the Hunley's been moved there. So like it brought whatever with it because it was more of a memorial site. So there's a lot that goes on in that. I mean, it's old, like old, like crazy, and it's giant. Like you can walk in there all day.
Wow.
Acres and acres and acres and acres.
Oh, wow.
So, I think I read or heard somewhere, I listened to a lot of podcasts. It was like 35,000 people are buried there.
Wow,
It's giant.
That's a lot.
That's
Eliza, where are you buried?
Now, do the bars on this mean anything when they?
all aesthetics.
Okay.
All part of the game. Like I turn the volume down because it's annoying. Like it gives you the rumble every time a word comes through, and it's just dumb. But
Okay.
what I like about this, go ahead and look at your list for me. You notice that there's a timestamp on everything?
Yes.
I can match it up to where we are.
Oh, okay.
So that's one of the main reasons why I use it. Not to mention, it's relevant. It gives me good stuff.
Okay.
So this is the first tool that I look at when I'm going through your data, so that way I know what to look at elsewhere.
Okay.
Because this is very specific, and I like to give the backlinks. Oh, the doctor is very prominent in their full tour. So let me see what else comes up.
Right.
So that way, not that I have suggested thoughts, but now I know what I'm looking for.
Right. Okay.
Fine. All right. I don't feel like we're getting much, and you're not getting much on yours either.
I got more over there.
Okay. So you guys want to? So let's turn the temperature piece of it off, so you get a little bit more of an accurate reading. So turn it off. So now you're going to see this fluctuate a lot more. So why don't the two of you go continue walking? I'm going to spend a few more minutes here just to see if we can get anything. Just do a quick lap, and then we'll wrap this part up. What else do you want to know? You want to go back to where she's buried? Does that make sense?
Yes, I do want to know where she's buried.
Okay.
Eliza, where are you buried?
I heard creature.
I did too. I really want to know what happened to her house.
Well, he said he's not going to leave us hanging.
Yeah, I won't leave you hanging.
I'm just curious.
So my wife, she does all of the graphic design pieces for me. And what I came up with, because I spend so much time giving you guys questions to ask, we're coming up with a photo book. So it'll have a photo of Eliza and the list of questions. That way I don't have to say them. So if you have a spirit box, you're going to have a photo book as well. So I'm going to say, okay, turn to page 2, kids. And you're going to look at Eliza so you know what color her hair is. You're going to have that feeling and the thought of her portrait in your mind, but you're also going to have the list of questions.
That's a really good idea. You
Yeah.
should definitely do that.
It's going to save me like 20 minutes on the tour.
Yeah.
Like,
Eliza, what color hair did you have?
Well, we know it wasn't blonde, so
It's from England.
I'm gonna guess brown, dark brown.
It was pretty dark. Yeah.
Maybe she looked like you, Meredith.
Thank you for creeping me out. Mine's not originally red though.
I said brown. Your
Yeah.
hair is brown.
Naturally, yes, it is. When it's not turning gray.
Gray? Really? You guys can't be that old.
I mean, I'm 31 and I'm starting to get some in my little,
Yeah.
like, top of my head.
I don't have gray hairs, and I'm older than you.
I have gray
Just
hairs and I'm
saying.
definitely older than you.
Eliza, did you have gray hair?
You did. I was guessing late 20s, early 30s on all of you. Am I right?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, Corey's the youngest. She's 30,
She'll turn 30 in September.
and we're all.
And I'm the
31.
oldest. I'll turn 32 in November.
Me, her, and Monica graduated together, and Corey was a year behind us.
Okay, so how old am I?
I was gonna guess like 40.
I was going to say
But then you said something
35.
about working in retail for 21 years, and I was like, that can't be right.
I have a daughter that's going to be 21 this year.
Okay, well, that's
21,
way off.
really? Damn, I was going to say 35.
Really?
I'm 42.
Okay, that makes sense.
So,
Okay, yeah. So I was right then, almost.
yeah, you're close.
Eliza, how many children did you
The
have?
baseball hat takes on 10 years. I still have my hair, thank God. All right, ladies, let's roll it in. Come on, Corey. Unless he's probably getting something in there. Finally, I'm disrupting her.
The word permit.
Permit.
One of her drawings.
Bind, cast, cause, asset.
So there was one word down there that was similar to bind. It was lock. I thought that was interesting. Like, why is bind and lock
I don't know.
coming up? Do you know anything about that?
That's cool stuff. Did you have more stuff going on over there?
I felt like
Well, unfortunately, I can't prove anything that goes on over there because there were servants and slaves. There's a couple of mentions. Go ahead and turn it down for me. There's a couple of mentions about her servants in some of her writings, but not a whole lot. Nothing I can truly say, hey, David was a cook. You know, I can't say that. So that's why I try to, like, I don't want to say dismiss what happens over there because, I mean, I do get stuff, but I just can't prove it. So let's go ahead and turn the REM pod part of that off. What answers do you guys want first? What are you guys most curious about?
Do you think bind and lock had something to do with the slaves?
Possibly.
Okay.
But she wasn't a slave driver. Okay, so she was very kind. Obviously, she had to learn from them.
Right.
You know, she treated them with respect. So it was a pretty big deal.
Okay, so my first question is what happened to the house?
Yeah, I'm going to know that too.
The Great Fire of 1861 took it out.
Oh.
So on any tour in Charleston, they all talk about at least one Great Fire. It's usually named after the year that it happened. This particular one, we've had dozens. That's why we all have at least one that we talk about. This one in particular went from Peninsula Coast all the way to Peninsula Coast. The house just happened to be in the way.
Oh, wow.
The only photos we actually have of the house are sketches after the fire hit. We also have a description in one of the daughter's books that she wrote. And the excerpt is from a friend of Eliza's. So one of the goals that Stories in the Cemetery would like to do, and the only reason I bring this up is because you guys seem like you'd be cool with it.
Yeah.
Nick wants to start his own ghost hunting store. So I would sell the equipment, I would sell books, obviously, so I can sell my own, and it will all be paranormal. But have a haunted hotel above it.
Ooh.
So that way, every group gets their own. They get an hour with me, training, and then they spend the night.
I can tell you right now, we would totally be all
Yes,
over
that would be awesome.
Totally
Well, we already have a hotel manager lined up. Like,
That
she's
is
ready
awesome.
to
Oh,
leave.
wow.
Please send us the hookup when you get that set up. Because
So
we'll come back.
one of the things that I came up with was what if I bought this lot and recreated the Pinkney mansion,
Oh,
and that was the hotel,
wow.
and the shop was downstairs.
That would be so cool.
So,
Yeah.
because they're doing a lot of renovations to Charleston over the next 10 years, where it's going to be very modernized, and it's going to take away from some of the charm.
Mm-hmm.
So with that being said, it's going to cost me like $20 million to do it.
Yeah, that's gonna be crazy.
Because I need an archaeological dig because it's never been done before. So we don't know what's underneath here.
Right.
I can't believe nobody has done that.
It costs too much. This is a big plat of land.
Mhm.
However, you got to remember when we find original pieces of the wall, because Charlestown was a walled city, they cover it with sidewalk or grass or whatever to keep it protected and preserved in the ground. So that's what happened to the mansion. That was almost 70 years after Eliza died, so the house was still within the family. So let's move on to Eliza's death. She was 70 years old when she died.
Wow.
Colonial times, it's a very long time to be living.
Yeah.
So she died in Philadelphia from breast cancer. That's also where she's buried. That was in 1793. So breast cancer in 1793, really? We're going off her medical records.
Right.
So that's kind of where all of that came from. Pallbearer, any guesses now that you know the year that she died?
What was it, the year?
I'm terrible at
1793.
U.S. presidents.
Oh,
Come
wow.
on. I'm
Well,
going to
we
say
didn't
Grover
have-
Cleveland.
No,
That's way too
this
far.
is way.
Kennedy?
Wow, Jen, you're like way off. Like
I don't know.
he served more than 2 terms, but it wasn't.
But he
him.
wasn't even president. We were like what, 1776?
That's
So let's put it this way. Trump is still considered the president. He's not in office anymore.
Oh, you're saying.
Oh.
So it wasn't. Oh, really?
Oh.
So he, yeah, okay.
So here's
Okay.
the interesting thing. Remember I told you about 3 Charleses and 2 Elizas?
Yeah.
We have 3 Georges. I always need that second clue to know which one we're talking about. Obviously the president that I just mentioned, and the terms that will come up around Washington, obviously his name, but if we get just George, I gotta need another clue. So I'll get like Wood, Apple, Martha, anything related that tells me that it's, obviously we're talking about the president. Who are the other 2 Georges? There were 4 children. Thomas, Charles, George, and Harriet was the only daughter. I'm going to talk about Harriet in a second. So there was George number 2. That particular son was an infant when he died. I don't know if he was days or weeks old. His tombstone just says the month and the year from birth and death. So I don't know how old
Where is
he
he
was.
buried?
Probably here somewhere. I honestly don't know. I could probably look that up.
Oh,
Good
what does
question.
that mean? Oh, did it just turn? Is it supposed to be red? Okay,
Yeah,
sorry.
the
Never
screen
mind.
is. The
Sorry.
other George, the son George, was named after Eliza's father. Ironically, his name was George Lucas, which makes Eliza Pinkney's maiden name Lucas. So she went by Eliza Lucas Pinkney. The insignificant first wife was Eliza Lamb Pinkney. So we have Lamb, like the animal, with the B at the end and everything, and Lucas. So I'm going to find out if Miss Lamb was blonde. That'll be very interesting.
Yes.
I don't know that I can find a picture. Findagrave.com doesn't always give me great pictures, but we'll see. Let's see, what else did I have you guys ask? There were 4 kids, obviously, we mentioned that. The mansion. What else? Oh, Charles. So he was part of the Jeffersonian Republican Party. So Jefferson and Republicans show up here quite often. He was born in October and he died in October. So October will show up here twice, often. So I usually get that about once a month.
That's creepy.
Yeah? And that's how I know it's him. It's just him letting me know he's here.
That's true.
He doesn't always like to give me his name, but when I find a skeptic that openly admits it, and I don't want to know if there is one, I don't feel like there's one tonight.
No.
But because what happens, just so you know, is Monica tells me I don't believe in ghosts. I'm just here because they wanted to go.
Right.
I'm going to focus
It's a
on
great
you
time.
all night, and they're going to miss out. So that's why I stopped asking that question. But if somebody comes up like, this is all bullshit, whatever. So I'm like, all right, because I had that on my phone too. I'm like, come with me. And I'm like, all right, Charles, if you're here, put your name on this blue box for me. Boom, Charles. I've done it 3 times in the past 2 years.
Really?
3 times.
Wow.
Can't make this shit up.
I would get chills.
It's so cool when it happens too, especially when you get a direct answer. Any other questions that you guys were curious about? Anything that I missed? I normally miss the maiden name thing, but I think the way I told that tonight, it actually kind of flowed really nice.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna have to listen to that recording because I normally mix it all up.
Something that we asked several times.
I'm sure what she grew in her garden.
Oh, the ages that she got married.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Guesses?
I'm gonna say
I guess it'd be
16.
No, she was being considered old maid back then, so she'd be like 24.
Oh.
2,
Oh, I was close.
which made Charles 45.
Yeah.
She
Oh,
was over double her age.
that's right.
So
Okay.
22 and 45.
16 would have been
I
like
want to say they
prime
were only
bride
married
age
for
back
14
then.
years.
I didn't hear that part.
Something like 13, 14 years.
What did Charles die from?
I don't know.
Charles, what did you die from?
Let's see. I think that about covers all the weird questions that we asked. I'm trying to think. I always like to double check before we leave. So here's what happens from here. We're going to go up about 4 blocks.
Okay.
We're going to be going to Lodge Alley. Lodge Alley is, you guys are in Charleston, you need to see some cobblestone. It's a brief stop. It's going to be pretty busy on East Bay Street, just letting you know. Your EMF's going to go crazy. Why? Parking meters. The electrical lines are underneath the streets strong enough to make it go off. I see that quite often.
Okay.
Actually, part of
I
that.
apologize for texting. I'm trying to make sure my son made it asleep okay.
How's your son?
He's 3. He just turned 3.
Oh, nice.
So,
It's a fun age.
yeah, but also stressful leaving him.
I have 15 and 21 are my girls.
Year old or month?
You're
So,
That
old.
wouldn't make
Y'all
any
were in
sense.
this conversation. We were trying to guess his age, and we figured it out. How old do you think he is?
I would say early 40s.
You would be correct. That's what I said. 40.
42. So my 15-year-old, when she's down here, she lives with her mom in Myrtle Beach. She's actually on the tour. Half the shit you guys are holding used to be hers. It was a
Oh,
birthday
wow.
gift kind of thing, and I was like, all right, Dad quit his job. He's got a new idea. Give me your shit back. So now she comes on the tours when she's down here.
Aw.
So, but yeah, she actually knows the devices just as well as I do. She doesn't know the stories all like the way I can tell them. She does a lot of the ums and the
Aw.
feet shuffling thing. So
Yeah.
she's getting there. She'll be
She'll
an
find
employee
her
one day.
confidence.
I need somebody to run the damn shop I'm about to build.
There you
So-
go.
Family
I really
business.
do think that's a great idea, honestly.
So there's a couple other spots that I'm looking at. Obviously, Big John's would be great. I need an actual haunted location. But
Right.
with here, what's so fun about it is that I would want the artifacts from the date in the shop and in the rooms.
Yeah.
Right.
So that way there's more to it. But anyway, so we're going to go up to Lodge Alley. If you're going to listen to your spirit box, listen for names. We're probably all going to be chatting anyway, and it is recording. I'm not going to tell you what names I'm listening for tomorrow morning during this time, but I won't even tell you what gender they are, but I'll explain once we get there. Again, I don't like to give those suggested thoughts. By the way, I did play a trick on all of you, and you guys all passed. So I'm a wordsmith, and I do this every night. And I said, I'm not going to give you what color is George Washington's white horse
Right.
when we got here.
Mhm.
To make sure, I wanted to put George Washington in your brains, and
Oh.
not one of you came up with
Oh,
it.
because I was thinking, why is he relevant? Like that's.
I thought he was
silly,
just
'cause-
using
Yep.
that.
I do that on purpose. Most people pass. believe
Like
it or not.
obviously,
So did we
it was
pass?
a white
Yeah, we
horse.
passed.
Yeah, because I put a suggested thought in your head,
Oh, we
and you
totally.
did. Right.
Yeah.
Totally missed it, which is fine. I wanted you to hear it.
So
All right.
we're completely oblivious.
Yeah.
Where we passed the test.
Passed the test, which was both.
Okay, good.
You were oblivious and you passed.
Okay.
So Lodge Alley is a quick stop. After the quick stop, we're going to be passing through a neighborhood. I'll explain it here just because it's so much easier and it's going to save us time in Lodge Alley because we can't stay there long. It's considered a quiet area. So once we get down there, it's next to a hotel. So your spirit box, if you're going to be listening, needs to be turned down the minute we hit those cobblestones.
Is it the Lodge Alley Inn?
Yeah, it's right next to it.
That's where we stayed last time.
What room did you have?
Just in a haunted room.
I don't know. I feel like
So room 304 is the alleged haunted room in that place. Every
Is it the
hotel in
blue-green?
Charleston, yeah. Every hotel
I
in
just know
Charleston.
that it had a spiral staircase up to the bedroom. So I
So-
don't think it was real.
Next year, the wife and I have already planned one weekday every week. We're going to be staying in a hotel down here for me to do an investigation so I have more podcast episodes because I have so much I have to get back to. The same thing. Stories in the Cemetery. It's at the top of your data page with all of the devices that I use and all the
you
apps.
already have a subscriber. That's all she does is listen to YouTube.
So I have a new co-host that I have to train. So she starts in September once I'm finished with school and all of that. She's actually part of TAPS. Now, you guys all seem like you're pretty hip to the TV shows. You guys remember the old show called Ghost Hunters with the bald guy? They were plumbers. Grant Wilson was the other host.
Maybe.
Sounds familiar.
Yeah.
So TAPS started divisions in every single state, and she's part of the South Carolina division. She came on my tour just for shits and giggles, wanted to see my methods, fell in love with it, we got along really well. I called her about a month ago and I said, you know, I've been trying to find a job for you with my company. How do you feel about just being a podcast co-host with me so I can actually get back on track? Because people say I talk too fast. That's a lot of the complaints on the podcast reviews. This guy talks way too fast, he needs to slow it down. She has a southern twang, so she'll help slow me down, and she'll also be my research partner. Like, she'll be able to research and come on some of the investigations with me and my wife, you know, and all of that stuff. My wife's like, okay, it's not gonna be weird, right? I'm like, no, it's not gonna be weird. You're gonna love her. I'm telling you, she's awesome. But anyway, let's go to Lodge Alley. Let's go check it out. Corey's like, this guy does talk way too damn much. So
No, this is normal, Corey. She just like I said, she's a stuck her bird.
She is a SpongeBob, and that's her name.
But in a good
I always
way.
need a sponge.
Yeah, she's a good SpongeBob.
I like to joke the government doesn't really
She remembers everything.
She remembers her high school schedule, like class schedule. Yeah.
I can't remember what the hell I had for dinner.
Creepy how much she can remember. Probably keep her around.
Is that fireworks?
Well,
It's
I know that.
fireworks.
Yeah, but where?
Hold on. Did you just run into that?
Hey.
I kind of take a skeptic where I'll call you tomorrow.
Oh, sorry.
Honestly, it's so much more fun in the screen. I know, right?
So
Reagan said Wyatt went right to sleep without a single bit of issues in less than 10 minutes.
That's good.
I know, I was looking at that from down on the road. What? Yeah, probably.
What is the custom house?
It's where they used to process the shipments that came in from overseas. Actually, they might still use it. That's what custom usually means. Oh, that's a good song.
I go to some random spot just to see what's going on. Right. That's the aviary.
So we need to find that the macaroon store
Right,
tomorrow.
while I was there, enjoying the birds.
Yeah.
It looks really good.
We will.
What is
Hey, into it while I review the data.
Oh,
So that
that's awesome.
folks don't know what they're looking for. So we can You did automatic rating. That's why I got a clear one.
Elegant.
Automatic rating.
Probably be right here. Huh?
When you could see it, like you could see
He
the
actually
motion.
has a picture of her like side from 6th grade where Peter got it.
That's nice. Good.
What?
The cologne that one of those guys was wearing smells really good.
I need to find Brandon a good cologne. The gin joint sounds fun.
turning.
These are some old cobblestones. What? I know.
A lot of trash.
Hear any names, Miss Meredith?
Not really.
Alright, so just go ahead and turn that down. Because again, you see the little signs that say quiet, please.
Oh, yeah.
We'll be brief here. When we crossed that last crosswalk, where we were kind of waiting, being annoyed by it, we crossed into the original Charlestown wall that I mentioned earlier. So the way that ran was it was actually across the street on East Bay Street, and there's pieces of it still buried underneath that sidewalk. But this would have been one of the first streets that we had. You can see it's wide enough for just horse and buggy. These two giant buildings, they weren't here. It was shotgun houses. So people used to live here. That's why I was asking for names. I have the full list of residents of every person that's ever lived here. There's also a Masonic lodge before that. So the word Mason or the name Mason shows up here quite often as well. That's why it's called Lodge Alley. Masonic Lodge, Lodge Alley, that's the Lodge Alley Inn. Right. So there's kind of like your quick history. They did do an archaeological dig and found some of their tools and silverware. And consider these people lower class based on their tools. It makes sense because if you think about it, looking down over the water, that's where the wall was. The smell of low tide would have been coming through here. Like, no, the rich people weren't doing that. They designed their houses so they wouldn't have to. You guys seen them on the Battery. So if you went down that far, I'm sure you did. This is gorgeous stuff. Did you guys go down to the Battery yet?
Not yet, but
Oh, okay.
I think we've all been there before.
Yeah.
But you kind of get like how their houses are slanted and
Yeah.
they have the porches with the doors on them, you know, the guys. Right. That's the reason why they did that. A, it was helped cool the house. Second reason is because it's less taxes because they base your taxes on the front of your house, so that's why they go back long.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, very smart move.
That's pretty cool.
And they're also
Interesting.
designed so that way the smell of low tide doesn't come through their house. So it's just designed that way. It's very specific. That was the first thing you guys did when you got here?
What?
Take,
Well, we ate at the Crab House and we came here.
okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm honored.
We took our shot before.
Yeah.
Yeah, you took your shot.
We did have one quick drink.
That was just to get over the traffic on the way down.
Yeah, they had a bad experience. We rode together and we were perfectly fine.
So this is, like I said, a very brief stop. Now you know the quick history, so if something comes up out of the data, again, I like to at least take some tourists on top of stuff that you guys live down here. At least
What does it
somewhat
say, do
close.
run?
Do run. So, but we're going to be cutting through a neighborhood. I'm not allowed to be a tour guide in a neighborhood, so it's definitely casual for you.
Okay.
And it is definitely no noise from you. So we're going to kind of move quickly again to our next stop. That'll be our Legends and Lore. We'll take like a little break. You guys will have a chance to sit. And then we'll do one final level 3 investigation at the Powder Magazine. So let's take a hike up this way.
Think about how many horses that went over these cobblestones.
They were much more even back then. I remember the flood a lot.
That's true. See, guys, I can just open up my law practice here.
You could.
Require me to pass the South Carolina bar. Oh, I love that door. again.
Sorry.
You're grounded.
I know. I probably should be.
We don't have our shame bell with us.
Our shame belt. Shame.
So we're going to be running into some other groups, and I was just telling Monica, I will move us out of the way of the other bigger, larger groups, just so that they can have their way. Again, they kind of.
Ooh. What? Oh.
No, that it is relevant. A similar term came up last night at this exact location. It kind of tells me which story I need to tell when we get to the next stop. So the next stop, there's literally like 15 stories around. So I usually look at the list and see which words are going to inspire me to tell me which stories.
It's all slight smile off his face.
So
Wow. That's
Mommy.
I didn't get as much chills as when blood came through, but I got secondary chills.
Blood was pretty awesome.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that building is not in my budget. Nor will it ever be.
Oh God, I got right into that
There
thing.
is no reality where I could ever network myself into a Charleston building. What? I know. You sent me some new business. Do you like my ghost collection? Is that what you're laughing at? Yes. You said that to make a place.
Yeah, that's where we're stopping.
I tagged you in it so you can share it.
Save it.
It's okay. I tagged you in it so you can share it. Ooh, that's a low-hanging branch.
You guys can actually get to see what I actually look like. We're in the same place. Let's see.
What's that hat thing?
See, you guys paid me to come to work, and now I'm giving you a break.
Thanks.
I'm a great employer.
Awesome.
So, I'm surprised there's not a tour up there by the church, but I'm sure there will be shortly. They do like to pass by. When they do pass by, I stop talking and take a step backwards. So just gotta be prepared for that. So, a couple of things. Did you guys notice? Well, let's start with the mommy story. That's a good one.
Yeah,
There's
let's
something
start with
else
that one.
So I need to hold it.
on? No, we're gonna save that for the last stop. So that's over in that lot where all that other large group is. Now, mommy story. Everybody goes up to that church and talks about the sign that's just inside the wrought iron gate. It says there's no ghost here but the Holy Ghost. There's a reason for it. 1888, a woman dies 6 days after her stillborn child. So the word mom came up here as I'm telling this story last night. That's why I was like, ooh, back to back, same time frame. Again, we can't make that thing do right on. Wish I did. It'd be a really cool tour, right? Yeah. Just pushing buttons all the time. But anyway, so she dies in 1888. 1987, we have a local photographer in town. He's taking pictures of all the local cemeteries. He captures a full apparition of a woman wearing a shawl and a baby basket next to her.
Here.
Over that grave, yes.
Oh wow.
And she's buried here.
Yes. Her name is Sue Howard Hardy. Now, interesting thing about this photo is it's 1987.
Oh shit.
What is in the...
It was a mouse. It
It was
was a
a
mouse.
chipmunk, actually.
Oh. I thought it was a mouse.
I saw it. It was a chipmunk.
I wouldn't mind a chip.
Fuck.
Okay.
Snow White.
I thought,
All
it was,
I saw
I thought it
was-
was Sue Howard.
I heard it.
Okay, I'm gonna stand up here with Nick and be a
I can't play
co-host.
in this stuff, I swear.
Oh.
So there's no chipmunk stories, I'm sorry.
Okay.
I just made one. So anyway, her name is Sue Howard Hardy. 1987, no cell phones, no Photoshop. We can't debunk this thing.
Right.
So what does he do? He sends it to Kodak. You guys are all old enough to know what the hell Kodak is. I don't have to explain that.
Right.
You'd be surprised. So at any rate, so
We're the last.
we can't debunk this thing, but that thing's like gold for guys like me. Like
Yeah.
it's actual proof. Females that are handling the picture, including on your cell phone, get the same symptoms like I told you about at Big John's. Headache, queasy, nauseous, dizziness, that kind of thing. In the event mommy's going to be up, so it's going to say heated warning picture in your link or whatever I'm going to put in there. So just know that if you are looking at it, look at it on a computer screen, not on your cell phone. Okay, that's a big deal. Females that are pregnant, not going to have a good pregnancy, obviously based on the story. I'm not going to be the guy where some couple comes to
Meredith,
Charleston,
don't look at it just in case.
where some couple's going to have a great time, and then 9 months later they're emailing me saying they had complications based on my story. So I don't show the picture. Now that we have mommy, there will be a link so you guys can see it.
Okay, wait. So as long as we don't look at the picture.
No, as long as you don't handle it.
Oh.
So as in on your phone, or
Correct.
print it out,
Correct.
touch it.
Okay.
Okay.
So the fact that I'm here wouldn't necessarily mean anything.
Right.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
We're
So-
trying for number 2. That's why it was important.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
I'm done with this.
Me too. High five.
Yeah, so that's the curse that's on it. It's a superstition, of course. Yeah,
So how many times has someone called you? And said
Nobody.
that- Oh.
because I always give the warning. That's why.
Oh, okay.
Oh, you're good.
Hi guys. Bye.
But yeah, nobody's ever called me because I always put that heated warning even in the link. Plus, you guys have it on audio. So if you listen to this over again on your drive back, you guys will know.
So in lawyer terms, it's on me.
Yeah,
Right. So in other words, you've given me my disclosure of risk.
exactly.
But we
You're
can
just
look
like,
on the computer.
correct.
And it won't.
Oh yeah, because I forgot you're not done either.
All right, more stories. What other words do you have?
We have disc, mommy, do run, king, rational.
You have King?
Yeah.
That's exciting.
Is
When did you
it
get
or is
king?
it bullshit?
No, it's absolutely exciting because of our next stop. It's not to this corner,
Okay.
but it's the next stop. I'm excited about that.
Well, after king is rational, planet, concentrate, golf, where, like work, and grind.
Okay. So I'll just tell the typical story that I normally tell here then before we move over to talk about some pirates. So, yeah, I was not a pirate fan. Did you guys notice the gorgeous alley that we passed up? That was brick?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
On the
Not
left.
allowed to go down there because it's residential. I used to take my folks down there and I got caught. So we don't go down there anymore. So I had to learn the pirate story through and through, and I'll tell more about that.
My
But
birthday
that's like,
special, talk like pirates.
yeah, I'm not going to dress like one either. So you're going to see some girls walking around with their pirate outfits on.
Yeah, we saw that.
Yeah, I'm not
I
costuming
didn't see
up.
anybody with.
I'm dressed like a ghost
I've,
hunter because that's
I've
what I
seen a
actually am.
couple girls with
Now,
like
see,
pirate
that would
hats
be
on.
hokey.
What?
I had a review that said that I was hokey because some of the devices stopped working in the same location. So
How is that hokey?
I just said that I expected like it to be semi-hokey
Yeah.
because of equipment.
we're gonna let them pass through. Hi, how you doing, bud?
And then he talked about the review that
So, the alley we walked past is called Philadelphia Alley now. It used to be called Duelers Alley because that's where all the duels used to occur. So this is a really cool story, and I always tell it. So if you guys just kind of take a peek behind you, that's the wall. That's the wall. We have axe skill. But there's a doorway in the middle of that wall. Do you guys see that doorway?
Yeah.
So that doorway was when there was a loser from a duel, which didn't happen often. Doorway so that they can bring the body through this courtyard over to the cemetery where they would drop the body and then go celebrate the winner with a pint.
Oh, wow.
So, okay, let's circle back. So, isn't there always a loser in a duel?
Nope.
So if you both miss, isn't that considered a draw?
Sometimes. Well, let me tell the story and it'll make more sense. So,
Y'all shut the fuck up, basically.
What is SpongeBob over here? And
no,
I'm trying to
she's
ask
good.
questions.
I actually appreciate what she's doing. So, doctor moves down here. His name is Joseph Brown Ladd. He moves down here from Rhode Island. He's supposed to get married to his fiancée, Amanda. Amanda just inherited a bunch of money from her dead parents. The attorney handling that money said, "You're not getting married. I think he's just after your money. Send him away. Let's test him." So he moves to Charleston from Rhode Island. The coachman who brought him into town set him up to be robbed and killed. Wasn't a very good start. You gotta remember, this guy was a medical student who was probably dressed pretty well. The coachman said, "Let's get this guy." Somebody walking by sees what's happening. His name is Ralph Isaacs. Same initials as where the doctor came from. Rhode Island, Ralph Isaacs. Our eye shows up quite a bit on ours. Wow, this looks like another crazy fruit. Yep, there's a pirate person.
Yeah. See, I told you I saw somebody with a pirate.
Yeah, goes with her. Shut the fuck up. That's how that goes. So,
Ghost agree
anyway,
with you.
friends. He takes them to somewhere safe. 59 Church Street. 59 is a number that's prominent here. That's about a mile up the road. We're on Church Street, obviously, because of the giant church. So, with that said, they become friends. The doctor's practice starts to take off. He's making lots of money. Amanda's going to be moving down soon. He becomes known as the whistling doctor. He whistles all the time. It's 1800s. Nothing else to do but whistle, make money.
True.
Right? So, they used to go see plays together, him and Ralph. Nothing else to do in Charleston, right? Lots of playhouses. Let's go. The doctor had better seats because he made more money. The hierarchy said, you get better seats, that's where you sit. They talk about the plays on the way home because they can't do it while they're at the play because they're not together. They're talking about William III one night. The doctor loves the new actress that's in town. Ralph doesn't. They start arguing. Then it turns into an insult party on Amanda back home in Rhode Island. Obviously, they get pretty pissed at each other and go their separate ways. Ralph is from here. He's got friends at the newspaper. He calls him up, puts an ad in the paper about what a disgrace the doctor is to the city of Charleston.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
That's
kind of a
harsh.
dick move, right? So
It's the
from
equivalent
here,
of like a
church
Facebook
to
post.
yeah, I've actually read it. I can't remember the specifics because it's in that early old English. I'm checking on it again. Seen something moving. But
Yeah,
anyway,
It bites your ass.
We think it's the chipmunk.
the doctor sees the ad. He rebuttals with, "Let's go to Dooller's Alley and let's settle this." So they come down. They take the 20 paces. They turn. The doctor points his gun in the air and he shoots. A lot of times they would shoot their gun in the air or in the ground just to prove the point that they're willing to die whatever they're arguing about. The doctor was willing to forgive. However, Ralph still has his one shot. He puts it in the kneecap. I'm not trying to kill you. You're just in front of me. He puts it in the kneecap of the doctor. So the doctor didn't die. His friends pick him up and they carry him home to 59 Church Street. He dies 10 days later, probably from bleeding out. Can't heal himself, right? It's 1800s. So he did whatever he could, but he still died. So, they say as you walk through the alley, you can hear the whistles from the doctor. One of the reasons I used to take my groups down there is because spirit boxes were off. You're listening. I don't say a word through the whole tour of that alley.
I mean, I won't tell anybody if you want. If y'all want to try to go through there.
It's the mansion at the end. Is the new neighbor I pissed off? Yeah, tours are not allowed down there to begin with, but he called us all out. I got a real nasty from the tourism industry. So I had to reroute everything, learn new stories, and I don't like pirates. Like that reminds me of my ex-wife, so I don't normally think about pirates. But this story, I literally read 5 books on this woman we're about to talk about because the story is all over the place. I literally wrote down the things that were common among the 5 books. That's the story you're going to hear when we get over there. But I do want to tell you real quick, you guys see the burning gas lamp off in the distance? That's the pirate house. That's where Blackbeard's men would come off their ships because he stayed on the ships to watch them. And they would go have a drink, have a few ladies there, and they dug a tunnel from the pirate house underground over to Dock Street Theater, which was called Planters Hotel. So it was Dock Street Theater, but before that was Planters. They went there because it was a whorehouse, it was a playhouse, and there was also a hotel there. But they stayed at the pirate house, pretty much because it was free for them. They went to the playhouse because, let's face it, pirates tie really good knots. They can work for a few days in between bartering with all the locals. Then they would go back to the ship and probably back up to North Carolina where Blackbeard's got its treasure buried. So I just like to point that out, get your guys' mindset on pirates while we're sitting here. But we're going to go dive into Anne Bonny. Is anybody familiar with her? Most famous female pirate ever.
I mean, I feel like I've heard the name.
So you said you're really into pirates. So the story I'm going to tell, if you want to learn more about some of the Charleston pirates, there's a Netflix documentary that just came out a few months ago called The Lost Kingdom of Pirates. It was amazing.
Really?
Yes. Another version of the story, you know, because even the things I'm going to tell you tonight might kind of barter against that, but still, there's so many different versions of it because it's 300 years ago. Yeah. Does it say naked?
Naked.
Well, let's go talk about her being naked.
Cool.
My thing isn't red anymore. Does that matter?
What's not red? Oh, your battery died.
Oh.
Light button. That's what you got. She broke my shit, guys.
God, SpongeBob.
It's funny that like Blackbeard is here because I was just in Beaufort where his boat supposedly wrecked.
I really want to go down the whistling alley.
You You can do that after we part ways. A lot of people do that. I'm just going to shut this off and turn it back on because it is on.
So why did we hear bagpipes?
Because there is an Irish bar. Alright, you're back on. You just hit the backlight button. Maybe.
Am I doing antennas now?
Not yet. This story is a few minutes, so kind of give me a few. There's a lot of cars in here tonight too, so we're going to definitely stay in this corner over here. Because again, some towards like the pass-throughs, yeah, just like this one's going. Actually, we're going to move up because I really don't want to. There's a lot going on.
Can I turn mine back on?
You can, lightly. So I'm not screaming over top of it. So, first off, we were on one side of the cemetery. There are two sides. So we have an east and a west side. The east side that we were sitting on is for the native Charlestonians. This side is for everybody else.
You're talking about on the other side of this wall.
Correct.
Okay.
I bring this over here on purpose because some people tend to get a little bit of a headache over here. Not that I'm trying to give you guys a headache, but I'm testing it. I had it happen twice since I've been telling the story since November. Did you guys see the size of those groups, by the way?
Mm-hmm.
Did you see one happy person?
Miserable and cut eyes at me.
I'll do that. I'll do that because you guys have gadgets. They overpay for what they're getting. So they probably pay the same price you guys do. Anyway, done talking business. Calhoun, if you're a history buff, is actually buried on this side because they didn't know which side he was supposed to go to. So they just picked up his sarcophagus, moved him across the street a few times until they figured out he's not from here, leave him on this side. Okay, everybody
Just moving
else.
back and forth.
Yep.
Okay.
I mean, it wasn't the same day. You know,
Oh, yeah, that's true.
It
It
probably took like a good 15 to 20 guys to move that.
Yeah.
Those things aren't light, they're made out of stone. So, but you can actually visit this side of the cemetery during the daytime. It's open. But the other side they've been working on for at least 2 years. So they're always trying to preserve the headstones.
So how do you actually access over there?
You go up the street a little bit.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, this
But
is
it's like public.
yeah,
Okay.
it's public. So, the building we're looking at this last stop is the one with the crosses on it. Those aren't crosses. Those are earthquake bolts. Do you guys know what earthquake bolts are?
I'm assuming it's to provide some sort of backbone to the brick, perhaps?
Exactly. And the gist of it is that those run on turnbuckles. If we have another earthquake, which we haven't since 1886, and a building gets quaked, you turn the turnbuckles on the earthquake bolts, and it will straighten the building right back up again.
What? That's cool.
It doesn't work.
Oh.
Say, I feel like
It did sound a wee bit too good to be true.
Yeah. Well, there's another really cool feature about this place too. So this
Cellar?
is
Huh.
this is Charleston. We don't normally have basements or cellars. So, just saying. Now,
The confused ghost.
this is the powder magazine, which means it held gunpowder for 7 different wars. Okay, it's a museum now. You can go visit. It's actually really cool inside. Just a short little 30-minute tour. So this, remember I told you guys about the Charlestown Wall?
Mm-hmm.
This is the street that it came up. Okay, so it went up about half a block past the power magazine. So it's literally sitting in the corner on purpose, 3 blocks away from the water. So if the ship were to attack it, it's going to have a hard time because it's obviously too far away. But those walls are 32 inches thick. So that cannonball is really going to have a tough time. But
That building has 32-inch thick walls.
correct. It has a groin vaulted ceiling, which means it's basically made out of giant pillars that are 32 inches thick. There's 8 of them, and they all meet in the center. So when you go inside, you see the groin of the roof, and they all meet into another 32-inch thick pillar in the center of the building. Really cool concept. But if that cannonball penetrates and the gunpowder is inside and it blows up, there is sand in the roof from 1712. The gist is, if that gunpowder blows up, it blows the sand up out of the roof, and then it's supposed to fall to put out the fire.
Oh,
Kinda
that is
cool.
a really smart design.
But it's dumb.
Well,
We had another one, almost identical to this, constructed the exact same way, on closer to the battery, obviously much closer to the water if you know our geography. It got penetrated, it blew up, sand fell, did not put out the fire, the damn thing burned to death. So, this one obviously is still standing. It has never been attacked, even during the 7 wars it has served in. It was built and finished in 1713, took 10 years to finish this building. Why do I give you all of this backup construction? Is because Anne Cormack moved here in 1708. So she would have seen this building being built. This is also the oldest government building we have on the East Coast. Yeah. Wow. It's not the oldest building we have in Charleston. It's the oldest government building. So we actually have some houses that are a few years older that are still standing. Government building, East Coast, this is it. Oldest one. But it's a museum now. It's still protected by, obviously, military and all that other stuff. But anyway, 1708, Anne Cormac, follow me on this one. This is all over the place. She moves here from Ireland with her dad and his mistress, who happened to be her mom, getting away from his wife.
Makes sense.
You guys with me on that one?
Mm-hmm.
I'll say it slow because it's a little bit of a twister. So, I'm not going to tell you the name of her mom. That tells you a question you can ask when we get there. It wasn't Hazel, but that's very interesting. That shows up. So, Anne Cormac is obviously very young when they move here. She sees the building being finished. She becomes a teenager. Now it's 1714, 1715. Pirates are coming through town. Yay! She falls in love.
Was a pirate?
Of course she did. She's
Okay.
bad. Now, Anne Bonny had a really bad temper, even as a child. Like, to the point where there's rumors that she killed one of her servants.
Oh,
Yeah.
So she was probably receptive to the
Yeah.
pirate life.
Exactly. She wanted to be one. So in order to be one, we'll talk a little bit more about females and pirates here in a second, but she had to marry one. So she fell in love with James Bonny. Dad disapproves because he's a filthy pirate. They move to Jamaica, they get married. Right? So now Anne Cormac is Anne
What?
Bonny.
Your eyes got really big.
Because it did 2 in a row. It said Allison and then
Typically. Still kind of vague. I know Allison is very specific, but there's no Allison.
My sister's name is Allison.
Who did you bring with you?
Huh?
Who did you bring with you?
What do you mean? Who did I bring?
That would know who the hell Allison is. Who's the dead relative that would know that?
I don't know. I feel like I'm putting you on the spot. I don't know. I mean, I have a bunch of
Grandparents alive?
Yeah,
Parents alive?
no, I don't have any grandparents alive except for one grandmother.
What was Grandma's name?
That's alive, or that's dead.
Dead.
So we've got
Oh,
Brenda,
Okay.
and then, well, my other.
I'm waiting for Hazel.
Me too.
There's not a Hazel that I'm aware of.
Okay. So, back to Anne Bonny. She gets down to Jamaica, gets married, becomes Anne Bonny. She finds out that James Bonny is a
husband.
privateer, which means he is a British spy. He's a coward against the
Yikes.
pirates. This is not what she wanted. She wanted that kick-ass Johnny Depp, Captain Jack Sparrow kind of dude. This is not him. So, she falls in love again. This guy's name is John Rackham, a.k.a. Calico Jack. Much cooler name, much younger guy, very much like the Captain Jack Sparrow that we know. Is it based off of him? Probably a little bit. So, he's got his own ship. She wants to be part of it. This is where King comes in. I have never had Calico Jack's ship come through when asked on a question. The name of his ship was the Kingston. So I am pretty correct. I am pretty stoked about King coming through. I have been giving this part of the tour since November. So what are we on? 7 months that I've been asking that question, and I finally got it.
special group. Oh, we were special from the get-go.
So she wants to become part of the Kingston crew. He says, okay, but females curse pirate ships. You have to dress like a guy.
Yep.
To become part of the crew, you can be a female in my quarters. She's okay with this because Dad used to hide her when they were back in Ireland, dress her up like a boy to keep her away from his wife.
So she was already used to that.
Correct. The whole cross-dressing thing is a big deal. It's not, well, it wasn't a big deal. So, she says, okay, being a female in his quarters, obviously she's getting pregnant. Can't have a pregnant dude on the Kingston crew, right? I can say Kingston out loud now. It's great. Because normally I hide that. But anyway, so what's he do? He sends her off to Cuba with some friends. Go have the baby, come back, we'll figure it out. She comes back, there's no baby. We have no idea what happened to the baby.
What?
Yeah. She's also dressed like a female. She no longer gives a damn about hiding her gender. This pisses off Jack, so he just captured another pirate crew, so she's going to go down below deck and go flirt with them guys and piss him off right back. We're on guy number 3, by the way. James, Calico. Now we're on the new pirate down below deck. So she starts flirting. That person reveals their gender to be a female, pretending to be a guy, to be part of the pirate crew that Calico Jack just captured. Did you memorize that? Okay.
So now she's a lesbian?
Wait. They become friends. We don't know much more. There is speculation that the two were lovers. We don't know. So she invites Mary to become part of the crew. She agrees. The British fleet finds out where they're at, and they start attacking the Kingston. All the other pirates, male pirates, are down below deck, too drunk to come up and fight. It is literally Anne Bonny and Mary Read trying to take on the entire British fleet. Multiple ships. Obviously, the ship gets taken, including Calico Jack. as Calico Jack and Anne Bonny are being taken by the British, she screams over to him, "You should have fought like a man instead of going down like a dog." So the term dog comes up here. It's been coming up more and more here. So Anne and Mary both hide their genders back up again because they're going to reveal that gender in front of the judge so that way they can be set free. They're not supposed to be pirates, they're girls. So all the pirates down below deck tried and hung pretty quickly. Anne and Mary get tried later because the judge wants to see them because they're the only ones that fought back. His name is Nicholas Laws, by the way. Nicholas and Chief Justice is a big deal because we have another Chief Justice named Nicholas from Charleston. He was the first Chief Justice in the United States, by the way. But Nicholas Laws, he tries them a week later. They reveal their gender. He says, "I don't give a shit. I'm still going to hang you. You're still pirates to me. We plead our bellies," which means they both claim to be pregnant. He said, "Okay, we'll hang you after you give birth." Send them both back to jail. Dad's still here in Charleston. He's got his Irish money. He bails her out, brings her back home. What we know from there is she remarried again, guy number 4, had 4 kids, and died at 84. Very specific things, right?
Right.
So, what happened to Mary Read? Whatever pirates died from in a Jamaican jail, that's what Mary died from. It was a year later, probably bumpy, oozy, gross, whatever came out of that. So, use your imaginations. Now, this is a place where you can ask wherever you want to. That's why it's level 3. I don't have all the answers. I usually try to give a couple, like the ship and the mother's name. I never gave you that either. This is definitely a dead zone for you, which means if you get something, I'm excited. Something else is probably going off too, probably her red spirit box. I get a lot of glitches out of your camera here. Again, this lot is really full for me tonight. It's usually got maybe 1 to 2 cards in it. This night is crazy. It's going to be like this for me all weekend. So we're going to be careful with the vehicle thing like we talked about. Definitely listen to your spirit box while we're here. We're going to spend probably about 10, maybe 15 minutes here based on the activity. I am excited about King, and what was the other? Correct?
Correct. Yeah, it said that when you were talking about the name of the ship, it said correct.
Yeah, so I'm excited about King especially. I don't think I've ever seen King come up on that particular spirit box. So I'm pretty stoked. Let's get that thing turned up. Let's see what we find. What questions do you have? Nothing? Did I cover it all?
I'm thinking.
Does hunt mean anything? Probably not. I'm still kind of creeped out. It came up my sister. Was it spelled with a Y? No, that would be a little. That was dead.
I'm hearing your thing go off. It's probably from me walking. It's probably not. What's your EMF reading? Yeah, that's the temperature. Super sensitive. So the next button up from the bottom one, so the second one up on the side, I want to see what the range is. Go ahead and click that. So 2, click it again. Keep going. I want to get it back to the 2. I don't know why it was going crazy. I'm guessing it's probably like one more time. One more. Perfect. Let's keep it on 2. It just makes it bigger and bigger. So I'm guessing it was on wide open. Something we can send down. Like I said, I usually call this a dead zone, but I'm even getting a little bit on mine.
Would you say the highest it goes up to is?
I've seen it spike at 116, and that was at the Pinkney Mansion site probably 4 or 5 weeks ago. It's at 1.7 right now. It's holding steady, so that means it's got a pattern to it. So it must be picking up somewhere. I know there's a lot of electrical lines behind me. I don't expect an applause, by the way.
I was thinking. I mean, We'll give you one if you want one.
Because you guys booked through TripAdvisor, correct?
Did you? Did you book
Viator?
the TripAdvisor?
Viator. So that's owned by TripAdvisor.
Okay.
So on the cards that I'll give you guys, because I'll give all 4 of you one, because you're all not in the same household.
We will totally leave you a fantastic review. This has been awesome.
But just keep people coming in and keep the people that say I'm hokey out of the way.
Do you have a preference on how people book their trip with you? Like,
I prefer going straight through my booking agent because TripAdvisor takes a cut.
right.
So they take a 20% cut, but if they take it, like if I go straight through Peak, which is my booking agent, they only take like a 1% tax fee.
Right.
So that way I get like the full ticket price minus like $2. But with TripAdvisor, I lose $7 per ticket. I actually was on Groupon for a while, but they were really ripping me off, so I took them off. I took them off, like totally. I just stopped doing that because I now have rack cards, and there's a rack card distributor in town. So they go to every single hotel. There's 150 hotels in the Charleston area. He hits all of them plus the visitor center. So my cards will be everywhere, and the top of it says, "Let's go Ghost Hunt." So I will outdo all of these guys and be full every night. Journalist.
Whoa, that's cool.
So basically, as my blog, I would be considered a journalist.
Yeah.
I went to school to write fiction and nonfiction.
Wow.
So I have an English degree and I have a journalism and communications degree.
I'm surprised you don't have a history degree.
Street history degree.
Yeah. So like the stuff. Well, here's the odd thing. Like a year ago, you had to have a license to do this, and it was up for debate. So I was like, I'm not going to get it and see what happens because I mean, what I do, I need like some of the stuff I didn't even know until it was on the tour. The George Washington bit, for example, I didn't know that until something came up out of you guys on the spirit boxes and stuff like that. Yep. But I don't have a license. That's why all these guys get angry at me because I didn't take the test. I read the book. I could take the test tomorrow if all you ask me.
So is it like a test on like the history of Charleston?
All of them. So the textbook is 750 pages.
Oh, wow.
Oh wow.
There's a lot. You have to know
Wow.
the construction. You have to be able to read the bricks and tell what year they came from. Like there's a lot. All the wrought iron stuff around here. You have to know who designed what.
Goodness.
Stuff like that. We're still
Where
at
was
1.8. I'm guessing it's picking up the powder magazine. That's my guess. What do you think?
What do you mean it's picking up the powder magazine?
Whatever electrical lines are in there.
Oh, okay.
Corey was a tour guide for college.
Right? Like new student tour guide or history tour guide?
People coming to visit campus.
Barn.
We're still
Oh,
like
you're ways away.
we're about 2 blocks
Okay.
that way. Like we're not far from it at all. Would have been much cooler if it showed up there.
Well, yeah. Barn brush story lot journalist. Rail.
Oh,
Rail.
rail is another story here that I didn't tell you.
I thought rail was gonna be significant.
As in like railroad?
No, as in a wrought iron rail.
Ooh, tell me more.
So the Duck Street Theater, there was a young lady that was working at the church, and she's seen
This church.
yes, the big giant St. Philip's steeple. So she was working there because she was an old maid at 23. Nobody wanted to marry her. She was marrying age was 17, and she's seen everything that was going on at Planners Hotel between the whorehouse and the all of that going on. She wanted to feel wanted, so she goes down there to get a job.
At a whorehouse? Oh, cool.
Nobody wanted to marry her,
As one does.
so she wanted to feel wanted. So she goes down there. to go get
Obligation.
something. Yeah, right. Buys a red dress. She gets a job. She's the best loved girl in the place.
Oh.
Yeah, she's still not happy. So she used to go out to the second-story balcony and ponder about coming back to the church. The priest sees her one night. He goes down to talk to her. She's leaned on the wrought iron rail. Storm rolls in, lightning strikes, and kills her. Now they say you can see her ghost in Dock Street Theater from the knees up only. Yes, there's a lot of knees in my stories. So the reason for that is because we renovated Dock Street Theater and raised the first floor ceiling, so she's walking on the second floor that she knows. They also say you can see her apparition in color. If I tell you that somebody has a picture of an apparition, you're picturing something white and misty.
Right.
They say you can see her in her red dress, which is very
Wow.
common.
Wow, that is pretty
So her name was Nettie Dickerson.
invention.
Yeah, I'm not getting anything from these spirit boxes. Are you even listening to yours? Because I'm not. We've been chatting. I need to
that's
shut
I
up.
was just, I'm so like enthralled with
So
this.
we need to ask about the name.
Yeah, what was her mom's name?
What'd you say?
Ask Anne what her mother's name was.
Anne, what is your mother's name?
Oh my God, Mark, it just was playing two pieces.
What?
It just played a song.
Anne, if you're here, tell us what your mom's name was.
Yeah, it's being sensitive tonight.
Why is it doing that?
Because I picked it up. It's
Oh.
just being super sensitive. Some nights it does this, and other nights it's... Yeah, the guy with epilepsy should not be staring at the blinking lights, right?
Anne, what was your mother's name?
I heard 4.
That's how many kids Eliza had.
It says believe her.
I did ask her what happened to her child in Cuba.
And?
We didn't really get
We
anything.
didn't get anything until you said you heard 4, and you asked her how
Well, technically she had 5 kids. 4 after she moved back to Charleston, and 1 from Cuba.
Right.
But Eliza, if you ask her how many kids she has, depending on how she feels that night, she will say 4 or 3. Because if she
Because
doesn't...
of the child that
Right, so it's kind of the same thing here.
right. So,
Yeah. Oh, 10.7. You're filming, hopefully you caught something. 7.7. That was weird.
That was really
don't
weird.
freak
It
up,
was.
Jennifer.
I
And
just got
Bonnie,
chills.
I want you to tell me what your mother's name was. Big blue sky.
I seriously just got chills for some reason. Temporary.
8.7. 14.5. 1.6. Right here in South Carolina.
I'm starting to get a headache right here.
Okay. You seem stable, so I'm not going to rush us out of here. Getting a couple of little spikes, like 5.9, 7 point something. Sorry, I didn't mean to take your toy.
That one sound was really
That
weird.
way, it was like a whale.
Yeah, it was like, ooh, yeah, it was weird.
It almost sounded like a woman singing,
Yeah.
like a long note.
Is someone here that's singing?
I turned the temperature off so I can see the range. Did you notice how the numbers jumped around a little bit more after I turned the temperature off? It's jumping all the way up to 12 now.
Do you like to sing?
15.
What's your favorite song?
We're not gonna know that.
Probably no
Sky.
Yo ho!
Your block.
Sky.
Maybe I do have the right question.
Sky, it just said big blue sky on the
Yeah.
4. I heard 4 again. Did you hear that?
Believe her.
Are you a singer? At
Yes or
night?
no question.
I've thought
Night?
about it 100 times.
Does it say night?
Yeah.
Now I'm back down to 0.
Do you like to sing?
You're not supposed to ask yes or no questions.
Yeah, I keep forgetting.
Yeah, so when you guys are playing with that app, just remember, you want specifics. It might not always say yes or no. It's going to be specific questions. I'm at a 0 now. I got nothing. Did you notice how still I've been with this?
Yeah.
I turned off the motion just so it wasn't just being sensitive over here. Come on, Ann Bonnie, tell us whatever you want to. We're gonna be here another minute before I say goodnight to you. I normally don't like stare at the time, just so you guys know. We've been out for 2 hours.
Oh wow, it hasn't been like 2 hours.
by the time we got to the Pinkney Mansion site, we'd already been together for 45 minutes.
Wow. Can I ask her how she died?
Who, Ann?
Did
I
she get
don't
mad?
know. I think it was just old age. When she was 84.
That's pretty good.
This is 1700s.
Anne, how did you die? Stone Cold. Cold.
Maybe she got cold.
Could have been pneumonia. Well, it could have been pneumonia.
Yeah.
That's something I don't
That
know.
seems possible.
Anne, how many children?
I have funny ringtones, everybody.
Oh, I
Oh,
was
I was like, what the fuck was that?
So whenever somebody books a tour, I get a text message and it says, Ghostbusters, what do you want? It's Janine from the movie. When she answers the phone. So yeah, I'm a movie guy.
You're like, tell us whatever you want. And I was like, alrighty then.
Oh, try again. Anne, how many children did you have?
I heard kids. Three, 600. All right, Ann, I'm gonna say goodnight. Can you say goodnight back? Not that one. I'm gonna call it. I'm not getting anything. I'll collect yours last, just so we have a longer recording on that. I already have yours. So
You said turn this off last?
yeah, I'm going to turn it off last. Go ahead and turn the volume down a little bit. I'll kind of give you the extra answers out of this place and let you know what happens from here. So the mother's name, Mary. We had two Marys on this story too. So Mary Reed and then Mary Brennan was the mother. So she was the servant underneath her father.
What happened to his actual wife?
She was sick with pneumonia, so he sent her away to another house that he had. And that's how he was able to have the affair with the servant of the house. And then when she found out, she got pretty pissed and she started spreading the news all over town.
Was that in Ireland?
That was all in Ireland. Yep. Phones. Let's take that one first. One video.
Yeah.
Awesome. You just